What's up, YouTube? Alex here, back for another video. It's going to be kind of a different one here. I've never done this before. I'm just going to be kind of talking over some gameplay here. I'm going to be going over some of my tips for newer players to Tarkov here, pre and post wipe. If you only care about what I have to say after the wipe happens, if I remember, I'll put a timestamp here to when I start talking about what you should do first come post wipe. But other than that, for pre wipe, if you're a newer player, my main tip to you is to try and learn the maps now. Learning them now will help you when the wipe happens. This will be my first wipe, so I've been going over with my guys kind of what we're going to try and do first and that sort of things, but I'll talk about that when I get to the post-wipe section of this video. But for now, it's definitely you want to learn the maps. Learning the maps is probably one of the key things you can do as a newer player to help you in this game. If you kind of know where the good loot spawns, where other players spawn, knowing the spawns really helps with your kind of awareness on the map. If you kind of know where somebody is and they know they're going to go either here or here, kind of those are the closest spots that spawn compared to where I spawn, you kind of can anticipate when you're going to run into people and when you're going to need to be ready for a gunfight. And being prepared for the fight instead of walking in and getting surprised is a big thing as a new player, is knowing when you're going to be able to, knowing when you're going to have to take that fight. So I kind of suggest picking a map that you seems to work better with how you play. I play a lot of reserves. That works for us. There's not as many choke points as there is like on customs. I originally started with customs and there were just too many choke points and I just didn't like that. And my buddies were like, hey, let's go play reserves. And we've been playing that. We play it nonstop and we know the map backwards and forwards. Obviously we also know customs. But there's so many maps and there's so much to learn on each map. So, I mean, unless you're playing this game all the time, you're never going to know all the maps. But if you can pick a couple maps that you're good at and learn everything about them, it will help you in the long run on this long run in this game. My next kind of a tip is if you haven't done any of the tasks yet, now is a perfect time to try and do some of them. Learn some of the early on tasks. That way when the wipe happens, you kind of know what you got to do to bust out those first couple tasks. So with the wipe coming somewhat soon, I don't really know exactly when, sooner rather than later, learning how to do some of those tasks early on is going to help. Because when the wipe happens, everybody's just going to be rushing to do all the first tasks, get to level 10 and be able to start putting stuff on flea market, because that's where people are going to make a ton of money really early on, is being able to sell some of the first task related things on the flea market. Because there are people that are just going to get to level 10 and just wait for people to be able to sell the stuff and just buy it from them to do their tasks. So my next kind of tip for new players is try and get over the gear fear. The fear of losing your stuff. It's definitely not easy to get over, but the sooner you can get over it, the easier it will be in the long run for you. Obviously, you don't want to just keep burning through gear and making no money. You kind of got to find a balance there of losing gear and then making enough money to continue to have gear. Is kind of the balance as a new player, is trying to figure out what you need to do to sustain losing your gear but not run out of everything and be screwed and have nothing, where early on scav runs are huge for you. To be able to go in with a set of gear and if it's stuff you like, you can easily just try and get out with it. Don't even loot, you can get out and that's gear you can use. Obviously with the new found in raid for flea market, it's not stuff you'll be able to sell, it's only stuff you'll be able to use for yourself, which anything you pull off any players after the wipe, that's how it's going to be. Pretty much everything they're going to have is only going to be for your use. You're not going to be able to sell it on the flea market. And now I'm going to kind of move into what me and my team are going to do post-wipe. You can take these as tips. You can take it as this is what you want to do. But this is more or less what we've talked about, what we feel will be the best for us, and what works best for us. So right off the bat, obviously, like everybody else, we are going to try and bust out as many of the early on tasks as there is for proper therapists and all that, and try and get to level 10, obviously, as quickly as possible. Whether that's killing players, killing scavs, looting as much as we can. Early on wipe, everything is important pretty much. Obviously, some things are more valuable in the beginning of the wipe and not in the end of the wipe. Early on stash or hideout things are very important. So stuff like relays, wires, all that kind of early on hideout stuff is very valuable once you get to the flea market. So obviously we're going to try and loot as much of that stuff as possible. We're going to try and do as many of the tasks as possible to try and level up our dealers, obviously, as quick as we can. But there's some things that you got to keep an eye out for. So like keys are going to be big. So we're going to search every jacket that we come across. If you don't do that already, you should be. Every jacket, search it. Early on, every scav kill, we're going to try and get to that scav and search their pockets, bags, and try and pull some keys off them, because they can spawn some great keys. And, there are people that have found, red key cards off of scavs. So that's going to be kind of some of the important things. Some of like the loot rooms, kind of like here on reserves, there's the tech room. Not going to be a big priority for us. Graphics cards aren't super big or important early on in a wipe. It's the smaller things in the wipe to get your hideout out that are more important and more of what we're going to be gunning for, as well as trying to get as many of these tasks done as possible. There's a few of us that for the first time we want to go get Kappa, which is a lot of work, a lot of looting. It is definitely not easy to get, but that's kind of a couple of our goals for this wipe, is to get that Kappa container. If you don't know what the Kappa container is, I believe it is the biggest container you can get. I don't think they have a bigger one, at least not yet. It is a 3x4. The other biggest one is, I think you have to have an EOD. I don't think there's a way to unlock it without being an EOD player. And that's the Gamma, which is a 3x3, which is what I have and all my buddies have from being an EOD player. Just because the 2x2, I think is the alpha container. It's been so long since I've seen it. It doesn't cut it, especially going into a new wipe. We want to have as much space to put stuff. I'm still trying to find anywhere where they say if you die in raid, you lose your found in raid status of everything in your Gamma. I know if you get a run through, 100% you lose your found in raid status, but I don't know if there's anything said like if I kill enough people and loot enough and get enough experience to where it wouldn't have been a run through and I still die, do I still lose that found in raid status? I haven't seen that, or haven't seen it come from Battle State or Nikita. I've seen some other YouTubers talk about it, but I haven't seen anything confirmed from them. So if anybody has that information confirmed from them, please share it, link it below, comment it. That would be freaking great. Other than that, that's mainly what we're going for. We're going for tasks and loot. Obviously, that's what everybody's going for, but we've kind of got a strategy. We're going to try and bust out as many of the custom tasks as fast as possible. Obviously, customs has got a lot of tasks on it. I do know there are some changes coming to tasks, but I don't believe it's on how you're doing them. I do believe it is just the rewards. The rewards for the tasks, I believe, are what is changing on some of them, not all of them. I know there's a lot of Jaeger quests getting reworked. I haven't seen any confirmation on those yet. Obviously, if somebody has seen that, please, again, comment below for others to see. But those are kind of our main things, is early on hideout things, is to loot that, to search all jackets and find all the keys that we can, because keys are going to be heavily needed, as we're running through on reserves. I have almost every key to every room I want to get into, so I don't have to worry about that. Come the wipe, I'm not going to be able to do that. We're not going to, it's not going to be easy for us to try our 0 to hero runs, because we're not going to be able to get into some of the rooms that spawn AKs, early on. So that's going to be, it's going to be quite a change for us, as this is, again, my first wipe. Should be kind of fun though. We're all excited for it. We're all ready for it here. And then again, the scav pockets. Those are going to be key things. I know I've seen a lot of other people say it is jackets and scavs. Is to find those keys, find the valuable items that people are going to need and or want. Especially once you get to level 10, if you keep that stuff with the find and raid status, they're going to be worth a lot of money. And with that new thing, I guess it's not a new thing, with the new found and raid flea market, everything is going to be a little more expensive than, what you might be used to seeing right now. And that's kind of a good and bad thing. It's going to suck when you have to buy stuff, but it's going to be great when you have to sell stuff, because everything is going to be worth more money. And the more something's worth, obviously, the more money you're going to get from it, which is fantastic. Who doesn't want to make more money? Exactly. And that is kind of what our strategy is, my tips to some new players. Is definitely, again, learn the maps, figure everything out, learn tasks early on. Once the wipe hits, those are going to be key items for you to get you set up to have a good, post wipe, is getting all that done. That's our strategy. Get in, hit those tasks, get what we can do, loot what we can, because those early on hideout things are going to be worth a lot on the flea once you hit level 10, as long as you can keep them with the new found and raid status. It's going to be some getting used to that. If you have anything to add, please leave it in the comments below. Again, this is the first time I've ever kind of done anything like this. Hopefully it goes okay. It's gone okay. Hopefully some people enjoy what I had to say here. So if you liked it, hit the like button. If you didn't, you know what to do. If you want to support the channel, please hit that subscribe button. I do appreciate that. Other than that, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.